want to study abroad during the summer, but you're still not sure if it's the right time to do it. In this video, I'm going to give you 4 key reasons why summer study abroad might be your best idea yet. If you are new to the channel, welcome. My name is Kimber. I'm the study abroad specialist. I help high school, college, and graduate students around the world realize their study abroad dreams. And if you are returning to the channel, welcome back. I'm so excited to share this with you. So we are talking all about summer study abroad in this video. I know that with summer study abroad specifically, a lot of students are always trying to figure out, should I do it at this time? Should I wait until the summer before I graduate? When should I do it? We already know that a lot of students like to study abroad during the summer because not only is it summertime, but a lot of students like to do it because it fits into the window where they have a lot more flexibility. So depending on what country you're from, you may have the entire summer off. Or for some students, you may have maybe 6 or 8 weeks off, and then you have a time to go back to school. But we do know that summertime is always really popular with students. And I know that when you're going through and you're trying to weigh if you are doing a semester-long program, you're trying to decide if you want to do a summer program or fall or spring. And a lot of students just feel like it does not fit into my schedule to do a fall or spring program, but I could definitely consider a summer program. So we're going to talk about the 4 reasons why you should definitely do that and why you should move forward with a summer study abroad program. So we're going to go from number 4 to number 1. So definitely stay to the end of this video. So for number 4, the 4th key reason why you should study abroad during the summer is going to be early professional development. Now, this could be used ideally for any time that you study abroad, but if you are someone who's going to be restricted just to the summer months, you want to use this time to be able to develop yourself professionally. Now, you are already doing this no matter whether you are in high school, college, graduate school. You've already been doing this because you may have done internships, you could be volunteering, you could just be a really active, good student. But this moves forward with developing yourself professionally, not just from a sense of you are going to be studying abroad and learning things, but also as well from your professional brand. So you really want to think about that. I know that there has been a lot of chat with students, particularly younger students who are on social media doing different things. You definitely want to be cognizant of that. Whatever you're doing abroad, it definitely will make its way back home. So make sure that you are staying true to what your personal brand is. Don't post things that are out of your own personal brand. Basically anything that you would not want a future employer to see or a future person who's evaluating for you for a future program. You would not want to post that on social media. It doesn't matter if you are abroad. A lot of times people think that, oh, I'm studying abroad and therefore I'm off in some land somewhere and whatever I do here doesn't matter. No, it definitely does matter. So I definitely just want to highlight that off the top. But for the personal and professional development, this is going to be a great time to do that. Now, particularly with summertime, a lot of students who do summer study abroad programs often do internships. Now, this is unique. During the fall semester, internships are a lot harder to get. A lot of those internships tend to go to students who are already local from the particular country, and they're not as common. Typically with internships, you will find a lot more internships in the spring or the summer. But the great thing about summer internships, obviously, is that it's just during that period of time where a lot of students are already out of school or they're able to travel, they're able to move around a lot more flexibly than they would during their more traditional either semesters or quarters, depending on where you live in the world. The systems are set up differently, but most students have some period of time where they're off, and summertime tends to be that. So for summer internships, or if you're going off and you're doing a mission trip or volunteering, it's going to be a great way to do it. And this is a great way to get some foreign experience on your resume and begin to build that up. Again, with every generation, I would say, particularly with younger millennials and Gen Zers and the next group, which I don't even know what their alphabet is, that you want to make sure that you are focused, and I always talk about this, on being as competitive as possible. We live in a more global world, we live in a more competitive world, and we live in a world now, specifically if you are coming from the United States, which it is kind of a nice shift to see, in my opinion, that you're finding that a lot more people are shifting away just from the strictly education model and looking at what people are doing holistically. And so that is great in the sense of it's not just looking at how many degrees you have, it's also looking at what is your internship experience? What's your volunteer experience? Do you have any other development experience? Have you started a side hustle? What is that? So all of those things you want to factor in, and you want to keep that into account as you move forward. And summer study abroad can only help you with that. So definitely consider that part of it as you decide if you want to study abroad during the summer. It's a great option if you want to get some early professional development experience in your career before you launch out, before you graduate and you move on to other things. Now, for number 3, what you should consider with this, I talked about it a little bit in the opener, is that it provides flexibility. So this is one of the things that I know just from advising students. If you are interested in getting some affordable study abroad advising, I have a link below and you can find out more information about that. But one of the things that a lot of students that I work with and that I know who have studied abroad way after I did, this wasn't necessarily my case, but a lot of students choose to do the summertime because it fits in best with their particular degree program. Now we know with degree programs, depending on, again, where you are in the world and what type of degree you're doing, there are all different requirements. But one of the things that we do know is that unfortunately, a lot of those core classes are often only offered in one semester or the other, or one quarter in the other. So a lot of students will say, I would love to study abroad in the spring, but the core classes that I need to move forward to the next level are all in the spring. And in the fall, I'm just getting settled. I don't know if I can do that. So the summertime is the only time I can do it. For a lot of students as well, they may even choose a fall program and then they're like, hey, I did some in the fall, but then I want to go back next summer and get the rest because I definitely cannot miss the spring. And so this is definitely a reason why students often choose the summertime as the best time to do it. Now, one of the things I want to point out is that there is not a limit unless your school has specifically listed it, but most schools would not say that, where you cannot study abroad multiple summers in a row. So you could go to Japan one summer and then you decide that you really enjoyed that, but then you want to go and check out Germany the next summer, and you could just carry it on. There are some students who do that throughout their entire high school or college career. So you want to think of it in that way if that's the only time that you can do it. I would also say as well, to a caveat for that, is that a lot of students tend to use study abroad as a way to get elective credits. This is something that I did as well. I already had most of my core credits done and just needed those elective credits. And it was a great way to be able to build that in. We know that for a lot of students, they end up saving elective credits until the end of their degree. And then what happens is you're stuck kind of just doing stuff that doesn't really have any meaning. Not to say that, for example, if you're doing a cooking class or a yoga class, it's not meaningful, like it's great for your health or great to learn a new skill, but it's kind of just empty filler. Whereas if you are using your study abroad opportunity to go and get elective credits, you could be learning a new language, or you could be even studying history of a particular place, or something that is going to have a little bit more substance. We need more substance in the world just in general. And so it's definitely important to consider that, and study abroad during the summer is going to be the perfect time to, if you are in that situation, get those elective credits and get moving forward with that. And even if you are going and you're able to get core credits, it doesn't really matter. And I will just say as well, even if you are able to get no credits, that's why I always tell students to definitely understand in terms of the institution where you are currently enrolled, how they treat study abroad. There are some schools where they will say, well, as long as you go through programs we approve, we will give you credit. Otherwise, you won't get credit. There are some schools that they don't give credit regardless, because study abroad is not part of their overall agenda. But you have to make the decision that even if they don't give you credit, maybe it's something that you feel is the right thing to do. And I have worked with a lot of students who say, my school does not give credit, but what I will do is I want to use this summer opportunity to really go in, learn some things in a different country, be able to travel and experience this. And I don't think I would be able to any other time in my career, at least not for what I can see right now. So I'm going to do it anyway. So you really have to think through what is going to work best for you and then move forward with that. But I wanted to point out the point about the credits just so that you understand what you need to look out for. But definitely consider the opportunity to study abroad in the summer as a great way to have more flexibility, but also add on to your educational opportunities. So for number 2, we are talking about affordability and cost. So for the affordability, this is a key point of why a lot of students choose to study abroad during the summer. Just to kind of give you an idea, overall, this is not looking at a specific country, but just looking at, if you're looking at an average of different countries, different places, most study abroad programs in the summer are going to be 30 to 50% cheaper than you would spend either for a semester long program and definitely for most full term degree programs. And so this again is going to be great if you are someone you're like, I don't really have a lot of time. Also, as well, I'm trying to save as much money as possible. You can get a more affordable program during the summer and still be able to access study abroad and still be able to do it. So a lot of students love being able to do that. So they're like, hey, I can still have the opportunity to go and do this, but I'm not going to have to spend as much money. And it's sort of a win-win situation. So when it comes to the affordability, the only thing that I would say, and I've done a video about this, I will be linking that below, but I definitely want you to look out for the two differences, because when it comes to the overall cost of study abroad, you want to consider the fact that there are two different types of cost, or cost to you. And so essentially it's the tuition and the fees, which includes your housing fees, visa fees, things like that. And then you're also going to think about your cost of living. And a lot of times, I talked about it in the other video that I'll link, that a lot of students don't often factor in the cost of living part. What they do is they will look at the sticker price that they see on a website or in a brochure, and they're like, hey, it costs 10,000, let's say, US dollars. It costs 10,000 US dollars. Well, then that's how much it costs. It's like you have to factor in all the other points. You have to look at the fact of they may or may not provide housing. You may or may not have to buy insurance depending on where you're going, health insurance, travel insurance. You may or may not have to get your visa on your own. You may or may not have to put down deposit costs. There's all these different things. And then you actually have your living costs, because you are a living person. You're going to be living in the country and you are going to be there. You probably want to travel. And so you have to factor all of that stuff in. And so you definitely want to think about that in terms of affordability. But I can tell you that without a doubt, if you're going someplace for 4, 5, 6 weeks, it's going to be a lot cheaper no matter where you're going than it would be if you were spending 12 weeks or more. So just factor that in as a way to think about if you want to move forward with summer study abroad. It is going to be a great option if you want to save some money. So you've made it to number 1. Have you liked this video? So give it a thumbs up. Have you subscribed to the channel? Definitely subscribe. I release videos every single week. And have you shared this video? You want to share it so that other people in your network who want to study abroad can definitely get this information. So for number 1, it's really simple, really basic. You want to study abroad in the summer because it is summertime. So summertime is just one of those periods of time. It's definitely like a reset time for most students. I know that everyone is in a different situation, but a lot of students, they really can just kind of breathe, relax. I know that in the US and in parts of Canada, it's a little bit more flexible than other parts of the world. I know that, for example, when I was in graduate school during the summer, we were not free because we were working on dissertations. But no matter what that kind of looks like for you, summertime just feels a lot lighter for a lot of people. And that's why it is absolutely a great time to do it. Another thing about it too, if you think about it from this perspective, is that during the summertime, cities and countries look very different because people, and I always want to use the caveat that I know, for example, when a lot of us are in summertime, people like Australians are like, hey, we are freezing over here. It's not our summer. So I want to just keep in mind that when I say summertime, I'm talking about summertime based on wherever you are going to the host country. So you may have to go at a different time, but wherever it is for the summertime of where you're going. But with summertime, since there are so many people traveling in and out, I'm not necessarily this type of person, but people tend to drift towards warmer weather. That is something that a lot of people do. A lot of people are not necessarily running towards colder weather. But during the summertime, you know that there are more tourists. This can be a good or bad thing, or the fact that you just know that it's just a different vibe. Again, people are a little bit more relaxed. They're on vacation. They're having fun. And so from a student perspective, it's really great because number 1, you're going to get to explore a lot of different things in a shorter period of time, but also as well, you actually get to experience the summer atmosphere. And that would be a lot different than if you went, let's say, in the middle of October when a lot is probably not happening, except for maybe in some parts of the world where there's Oktoberfest, or if you went in the springtime when it's kind of, kind of the regular run of the show and everything's just kind of going on as it would before the summertime. And spring tends to be a little bit more action packed, but it's not the same sort of vibe as the summer. And so I would definitely say that it's going to be great, especially if you are someone who you want to travel. Again, there's going to be a lot more discounts. And if you are in certain parts of the world, let's say like Europe, you can get to places really, really cheap. You can already do that throughout different times of the year, but during the summer, you could get airplane tickets for really, really affordable prices, not just to stay in Europe, but to go other places as well. And it's just a great way to be able to collaborate and meet other people. Again, because summertime is one of the most popular times that students study abroad. You are more likely to meet more of your own people. So in the sense of, everyone wants to find their tribe and find their people. And since there's so many more people doing it, you're more likely to do that than, let's say, in the fall, where your programs can be really, really tiny. And so it doesn't mean that you would not vibe with those people, but there's just more people to choose from in the summer typically. And like I pointed out in the beginning of the video, a lot of internships abroad take place during the summertime. So if this is something that you really want to pursue, I would highly recommend it. I did internships pretty much every single summer since middle school. And so I definitely would say that you want to consider that. If you can get an internship abroad, it's going to be even more impactful. That is something that a lot of students around the world still do not do. And so you are still in a much smaller club, and it just adds to your competitiveness. So I know that you are like, well, hey, summer study abroad sounds quite amazing. I want to do this. And so I want you to watch this video so that you can learn about 3 of my favorite summer study abroad programs to learn about. I'll see you over there.